Welcome to another episode of Electric City Television's Roundtable Discussions. I'm your host, Travis Prince, and today my guest is Jessica Maietta. Hey Jess, how's it going?
Good, how are you, Travis?
Pretty good. I'm so happy you came to sit down and have a conversation with me.
Thank you for having me.
So the first thing I would like for you to do is just introduce yourself to the guests and viewers at home and tell us where you're from, where you went to school, and some things like that.
Yeah, so I'm a local artist. I graduated from Keystone College in 2018 with a double concentration in mixed media and art therapy. Since then, it's hard to turn your school experience into a career. So I started just continuing to show work through the area at art shows and trying to do it as a part-time job. And then I realized that kind of made my life miserable, so I reached out and started a tattoo apprenticeship in February. Wow. And I'm really enjoying that, so I'm doing that right now.
A tattoo apprenticeship. So where are you currently located?
So I'm at a private studio in Scranton. We don't have a name, but I work with two other artists, and I'm really loving it. I wish I started tattooing earlier.
So you're currently in a tattoo studio. You guys don't have a name yet.
We don't have a name.
And
it's like a secret studio.
And you just started your apprenticeship this year.
Yeah, I started in February, and I graduated my apprenticeship and am tattooing full time now.
Wow. So how long did the process take?
So the apprenticeship really depends on your mentor, your experience, and how long it just takes you to get comfortable working on skin, not damaging it, getting used to the material, if you will. So I think I started really feeling confident a few months ago tattooing. At first, my first tattoo was very scary. It took me 3 hours to do a little ghost.
Did you know the person you tattooed first?
Yes, it's my fiance, and I was freaking out. My mentor basically had to just be just do it, Jess. Just touch the skin. Just put the needle on the skin. And then, after that one, it was fine. But it's always the first one that really is intimidating.
What did you practice on prior to a live person? Was it? I know some tattoo artists use hide or leather or pig skin or something.
Yeah, so I used fake skin, which is if it looks like rubber, it feels like rubber. It's interesting. It's definitely different than skin.
Now that you're tattooing, what other mediums do you enjoy using? And even in creating the drawings for your tattoos, do you like using graphite, ink?
So I'm a very physical person. I'm really not good with digital media. So I wish I was better with Photoshop, because I definitely think it would help my tattoo process.
Yeah.
However, right now I do everything by hand. I have to have the pencil, the paper, and then I go over it with pen usually and transfer that into a stencil.
Yeah. When you design your tattoo and your client asks you for something specific, do you try to create the image from scratch, or do you use reference images or anything like that for your compositions?
A lot of people do reach out with reference photos, so that's always helpful, but sometimes it's nice to just go in when someone says run with my idea. They give me a topic or an image that they would like, and I can just go any direction with it. That's my favorite.
Yeah. So what other mediums do you enjoy working with?
So right now I'm doing a lot of mixed media. So it's very tactile, very textural, a lot of building up of layers.
Such as?
So I explored sewing canvas for a while.
Ooh.
And I definitely really enjoy grids. So I was trying to sew in grids and do all this stuff, but then I felt it was taking so much time, and with my art it's very intuitive, so it changes very frequently. Mm-hmm. So I felt I kept backtracking, ripping stitches out. So I'm trying to find the right medium right now.
Yeah. This piece you brought here, does it have a title to it?
Yeah, so her name is Solar Deity.
Solar Deity.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you.
So my first impressions from the image, I see the sacred geometry is what stands out to me the most. And then after that, the goat figure, which is heavily saturated in myth and mythology, different legends, even in some religious realms where it represents Baphomet.
Yeah,
and
I
some things
definitely
like
get
that.
asked if it's satanic a lot.
And not necessarily satanic. Like I said, there's a lot of cultures that have animal-headed
Right.
figures, and so that's one of my main questions. Like this imagery, what does it mean to you?
So I'm an Aries, so that's kind of where I got the goat head figure. This piece was me trying to explore like how to represent a soul on different dimensional levels.
I like that. And so, how did you choose the imagery? Because what you're describing is something that is intangible,
Right.
and I always feel that's some of the best art, but at the same time, some of the most difficult images to convey because you have the concept, but
Right.
to take a non-tangible concept and to make it into a visual representation of what you feel it to be is really hard. And but how you described that just now, say it again, a soul on two different.
So she's like a soul, but I wanted to represent her on different like dimensional planes.
Yeah.
So for example, like you have the sacred geometry aspect, you have like an essence. I like it's so hard to use words to describe your art, but like you have like a just like a different way of exploring what a being could be in a different universe.
Yeah. And the imagery of the fish, what was that signifies?
So I think that fish definitely plays into kind of the darker side of her. I know, like I said, she's not very satanic, but that being said, like throwing a goat head on a female figure does play with those questions. So I think the skeleton in the fish definitely pulls out those
Yeah. And it
dark areas of her.
and I like the same soul, two different realms, but it still has this water connection,
Right.
which I find very interesting as well. What medium did you use to produce this?
So it's colored pencil and Conte pencil, which is just like a waxier pencil, basically.
Okay. And about how long did it take you to complete this?
Probably like 12 hours if it's combined, but in that time, like things changed a lot. So there was a lot of erasing, moving things around, but like constant work, probably like 12 hours.
Well, I really enjoy this piece. The line work, for one, is amazing. The lines in the geometric shape, the lines that frame the figure, they're really clean.
Thank you. I really find my work to be boxed in a certain way. A lot of my things have borders in it. So I'm not sure what that means to me yet,
Yeah.
but it definitely is a reoccurring symbol in my work to like compartmentalize items.
Yeah. Just one more compliment. Your use of layers of color to produce that final skin tone is magnificent.
Thank you. It was definitely like a building up,
Yes.
stepping back, looking at it.
The tones and the shadows on there are just fantastic. I really, really enjoy this piece here.
Thank you.
Let's check out some more stuff you brought.
Okay, cool. So this one's definitely a big jump from the figurative stuff. I felt like I was getting almost bogged down or in like a... the goat lady, our solar deity, has a mate to it, which is a male version. He's a rabbit. So I felt like I was getting in a rut of like following the same system to set up my art, so I wanted to break out and try different media. So this was like my exploration piece, if you will, where I kind of just exploded and tried like anything. So there's spray paint, there's oil paint, acrylic, charcoal, stamps. And this is when I kind of found I really liked mixed media.
This is pretty impressive.
Thank you.
The layering, again, I don't use a lot of different materials when I produce art, but I love to see artists who take different things and add them and layer it on to produce this, like you say, this more textural, tactile-like imagery. It's really striking. So I want to break this down a little bit. The border of stamps is what catches me first. This really thick outline.
Right.
So what inspired that?
So this piece is called Pray for Peace. So I wanted it to seem very worldly. Again, with the layering, we're going back to that whole idea of different dimensions. How can I represent different dimensions of maybe mindset, life, or like on a 2D surface? So the stamps, my dad actually was a stamp collector, and he gave me an entire box of them. So I picked through each one individually, finding the ones that were perfect for this.
Wow.
And some of them have like little sayings on it, like secret little messages. I actually got the title "Pray for Peace" off of one of the stamps in here. We'll keep it as an I Spy. You can find it.
Nice. Even this piece right here is stitched to the canvas.
Yeah.
That's some of the techniques that you were trying earlier, you
that
said?
card, so this is one of my first pieces that I actually took thread and needle to the canvas, and it turned out successfully in this piece. So I try to do it on future pieces, and we're still in the process there. But that card that I sewed onto this piece, I actually found in the woods, which I feel like is a really weird. Yeah. So just finding little objects, I feel like can be so important. It's almost like finding a tarot card in the wild or something.
The art of looking down.
Yeah.
Something else that's really striking, the lines, and I'm wondering if this is stencil work?
So I did create these two as stencils, and this is spray painted on. And then I think I layered over top of it with charcoal and like got really into it there. Some of it is taped off, some of it is freehand.
I like it. It's very, very eclectic. Like I say, to have those textures popping out of the canvas, from the stitching here to this really, really thick, bold streaks of yellow. And once again, the fish imagery is here.
I haven't decided. I haven't found what the fish means to me, but it definitely means something because it reoccurs in my work.
Yeah.
It's one of those subconscious symbols that life will show me sometime.
Yeah. It'll come to you. You'll figure it. I went through this whole blue phase, and I'm still not sure why or what.
I went through a blue phase too.
Yeah. And it took me a minute to realize I was in this phase, and I looked at a current piece, and I looked at 3 pieces prior, and I'm like, I'm using a lot of blue here.
I like blue.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, it's that unconscious part of us that's trying to escape through our work.
Right.
And if you keep playing around and developing this, you'll figure out the significance of it.
Yeah, it's just the fish that's a mystery. I feel like I have a reason for everything else, but the fish is, I guess, just an interesting figure for me.
Like you say, it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
It definitely is. This piece is beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm really enjoying this this portion of gold. Like, just your composition, it flows so nicely. Like from my standpoint, I see this border, and then it wraps me around, and then this bright red and more texture here, and then the gold, and it just kind of flows so nicely.
Thank you. My art is very intuitive, so I definitely want that experience for the viewer. I want them to be able to stand back and feel the movement through the piece.
You definitely captured it here.
Thank you.
It's very, very nice. So let's see what else you got for us. What's the title of this?
This one is Temple Number 2.
Temple Number 2. Do you have a previous one to this one?
We have like 7 temples.
Ooh, nice. I can't wait to see the rest of those.
Ran away with the idea. So this piece was me trying to describe what heaven, the afterlife would be like. So I really started exploring like Merkabahs and devices that channeled the spirit out of the body. So this was me trying to turn it into an image, and I feel like it was successful in some aspects.
Wow. Now that you've described it, it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, my art definitely branched out and got very abstract. And that's why I'm trying to, so my art is really abstract right now, even more than this piece. Like there are hardly any, like this one has like the cutout of a tree in it and like indications of buildings and maybe planetary things. The work I'm doing now is much more abstract, and I feel distant. Like I'm still on the idea of temples and spirits and how to represent that, but I feel like I need to bring it back into earthly elements. I feel like I've gotten too abstract.
Too abstract. I don't know. It's you know, might be on that little quest to come back.
I
full
think I
circle.
am. I think I'm circling.
But the geometric shapes here are definitely what stands out to me.
I love geometry. I love math.
So this shape would be considered a. It's not a square. I mean a rectangle. When you tetrahedron? No.
No. Google.
Okay, yeah, Google. We're not gonna do geometry words here, but the shapes are definitely bold and striking. So once again, the very crisp, sharp lines, then the sphere, and then you have this almost look like the inside of a geode crystal, and then the very organic shape of the tree. I love the composition, how you can
Thank
pull
you.
all these different elements and tie them together on top of your color composition. And then the layering effect. Is this burnt? Did you?
Yeah. After it was completed, I was like, the edges are just way too harsh against. So this line is very crisp here.
Yes.
So I wanted to play a softer edge on it. So I actually burn a lot of my pieces after I complete them.
It's very interesting.
Which is dangerous, but
You don't want to burn it too much.
Yeah.
And again, with the stitching and the sewing together, the piecing together of these elements, makes it even more interesting because you're literally tying these things together, but they
weaving the soul in.
Yeah, and they absolutely fit without a doubt. So can you tell us what are the colors on here? What did you use to produce this?
So this piece back here is actually paper that I marbled myself.
Oh, wow.
And then
How do you do that process?
So you use like a Carrageenan bath. So you take like a container that's pretty low and you mix like, so the carrageen is basically like sea algae.
Okay.
And you like mix it up in a blender, pour it in, and it makes this like pretty thick water. So you can like drop droplets of like paint in there, whatever you're using. And then you have to like pre-treat the paper and then you lay it on top and pull it back.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it marbles it, which is pretty cool. And then in here, so this is marbled paper as well, this orange.
It's like hydro dipping your paper.
Yeah, it's really
Wow.
cool. Yeah, you definitely have to try it out. So this piece and then the ones in the windows there are a print that I did in college. And I just like the textures in it so much. The textures and the colors worked perfectly for this. So that was a print that I cut up, and then this took me probably the longest in this entire piece. This is like me sitting, so like I drew out the tree, and then I sat there with like a little X-Acto knife and cut it all out.
Wow.
And then we have, this is watercolor in there. And then the border is actually this really cool goldy, brassy paint that is definitely super toxic that I found in like an old house.
Wow.
Right?
This piece is striking.
Thank you.
Even the decision you made to put it on a matte frame to give it this extra thick border.
Again, with the borders.
Yeah,
I love my
really,
borders.
It really like sets it aside. Very, very interesting. Once again, your composition, your use of color, your layering techniques, your artwork is very, very impressive.
Thank you so much.
And very inspiring, if I should say so myself. The stitching together, the tying together, it's really hitting on me. You do some great work.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed.
Thank you so much.
Well, I just want to say thank you for coming on to the show and sharing your beautiful, magnificent art with me and all of our guests at home, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
This has been another episode of Electric City Television's Roundtable Discussions. I'm your host, Travis Prince, and our guest for today was Jessica Maietta. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching ECTV. Please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel.